I salute you. क्या दिखा रहा है?
तो आज सुबह मिला था बस रोड में वहाँ पे जो है
shortage of potable water. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for accepting our invitation to be a part of this evening symposium on clear water revival and sustainable management of our water resources. We all are here to discuss serious implications of the global water crisis. Blue planet is turning blue, and what are we supposed to do? This event is being hosted by the social service group of little scholars named Setu. It is an initiative of social enterprise towards unified understanding and undertaking.
माननीय अतिथिगण व सभापति महोदय, मैं आप सबका अभिनंदन करता हूँ। यह कार्यक्रम कुछ ऐसे विषय पर आधारित है जिसकी अनदेखी बहुत विनाशकारी हो सकती है। जल के बिना धरती रही है जल, जल से वृक्ष, वृक्ष से वायु और वायु से आयु, सिर्फ हमारी नहीं, हमारे ग्रह की। We begin today's symposium with a presentation by the social group of little scholars. I would like to invite them for their digital presentation.
The terrain on which we are situated at this moment is expected to run out of drinking water within the decade. But how is that possible? Because terrain in Hindi means to be permanently wet. Alarming, isn't it? We would like to give you a brief introduction of the year 2012 to 2017, when 7,811 square kilometers of aquifer mapping had been executed in Uttarakhand. The objective of this flagship project has been conducted by the Central Groundwater Board, Ministry of Water Resources, to establish the methodology to identify and map the aquifers and to quantify the available groundwater resources. Furthermore, proposed groundwater is suitable for drinking and irrigation purposes. Groundwater level in this study area is about 1.15 to 7 meter below ground level. The study location occupies an area of 868 kilometers square and is located in the western and the central part of the Udham Singh Nagar. There is well-distributed presence of 295 villages in the study area. The land use, as visible in the graph, shows a predominantly high agricultural use with substantial population at an alarming growth rate of 66.18% in Kashipur from the last decade. Known as Chawal Ki Nagri, this study area mainly defines it as an agricultural belt, with the main kharif crops are rice, maize, soybean, and rabi crops are wheat, barley, gram, masoor, etc. Out of the total geographical area of study, the net sown area is 60%. The highest net sown area, the gross cropped areas, is in the Kashipur block. In the total, there are 350 small and medium-scale industries in Kashipur, Bajpur and Rudrapur. Include agri-dependent industries predominantly processing sugar and paper industries, the latter with higher water dependency. Geomorphology and geography can be divided into two categories. Number one, Bhabar, and second, Terai alluvium. The Terai zone is immediately lying south of Bhabar formation, and its name being derived from marshy and conditional characteristics of this type. Terai formation primarily consists of clays, sandy clays, fine to medium sand, and occasional gravels. The gradient of the Terai belt is roughly 2.5 meter per kilometer. Terai soils is calcareous, moderately productive, and suitable for extensive cultivation of high-yielding crops like rice and sugar canes. Soils typify marshy and swampy environment. The Bhabar zone is characterized by its high porosity and permeability, by virtue of which they allow major part of precipitation to infiltrate within a very short span of time, leading to the formation of excellent groundwater reservoirs. Bhabar soil is a part of alluvial fan deposits. Soils are shallow with sandy to loamy texture, poorly sorted, comprising mainly of gravels, sand, silt, and is intranspired with pebbles, etc. Note that the Bhabar zone acts as a recharge front for the Terai belt. Dead to water level progressively decreases towards south, and water finally emerges at the surface as a line of springs. The groundwater body appears to be sustained and recharged by direct infiltration from precipitation on the land surface, infiltration from turbulent streams flowing across the belts. Considering the land usage as a glimpse into the groundwater conditions in autoflow zone to assess the prevailing situation. Blockwise reservoirs, parts of Udham Singh Nagar district, Uttarakhand, shows that Jaspur has Tumaria Dam, while Kashipur and Bajpur has nil. We need to understand the groundwater conditions in autoflow region to get a clear picture of the present status. For example, in a well penetrating through a confined aquifer, the water level will rise above the bottom of the confining belt. If the water level rises above the top of the upper confining layer, above the ground surface, free-flowing or auto-flow conditions result. The difference in elevation of Bhabar and Terai, togetherly with the regional slope of the strata, appears to build the artesian head in the aquifers. Permeability of the Terai aquifers is less than that of Bhabar. As per the surveyed numbers, there are more than 150 artesian wells existing in the study area. Central Groundwater Board has constructed artesian wells at Basai, Kashipur and Bajpur in the study area. It is observed that the pressure head of the artesian aquifers drastically reduced over the last 2 decades, and some of the shallow depth wells lost its artesian conditions. Aquifers in the region can be summarized as confined aquifers, which can be recharged in days to months, and second, confined aquifers, which can take centuries to millennials to recharge. Rechargement of unconfined shallow groundwater of Terai is therefore what we can recharge to our own immediate revival. The inference derived from the various statistics, we find that the main groundwater related problem in the study area is shrinkage of the autoflow zone. The possible causes for shrinkage of autoflow zones and reduction in discharges of artesian head is the massive deforestation in the Bhabar zone, which is the recharge area of Terai aquifers. Rapid increase in the number of shallow tube wells in the region consequent upon increase in agricultural land. No mechanism to control and regulate the flow of these autoflow wells. journal download trend in the rainfall in the region. Increase in agricultural practices using groundwater by constructing shallow tube wells. Irregularities in the monsoon pattern creating a negative recharge pattern. It is important to note that the use of groundwater will result with respect to human consumption as well as of industries is continuously increasing and making a substantial dent in the complete pool. An incorrect recommendation to lessen the strain on the artesian aquifer occurring in shallow depth range, the deeper artesian aquifer should be tapping proving false as these aquifers are not replenishable in many a lifetime. This brings us to our symposium on clean water revival, where we aspire to create a methodology for sustainable management of water resources. Herein we have categorized the consumption of this resource into three main stakeholders as per our groundwater usage report, as well as companies actively preparing bore wells for these categories. Namely, there is a distinct usage pattern observed in this region where stakeholder 1 using 80% in agriculture or irrigation uses shallow borewell dug between 6 to 12 meter below ground level, while stakeholder 2 using 4% in human consumption use borewells tapping aquifers between 45 to 65 meters below ground level. And last but not the least, stakeholder 3 using 16% and growing rapidly in the industry, and other which tap multiple strata at 45 to 65 meters, 100 meters, 165 meters as well as 270 meters below ground level. Unlike areas in the higher region towards the north, where canal irrigation allows surface water to be directly used, here in the past decades the dependency on groundwater has increased exponentially. Interviews with the earlier generation revealed that when areas of the terrain were cleared for irrigation, there were guidelines laying stress on how the surface or unconfined aquifers, which are the feeders to our mighty river tributaries, were not to be restricted. And also, when wells were dug, excess water was to be returned back to the ground. Unfortunately, due to the growing demands and change in the crop pattern, these aquifers are stressed. Percolation of surface water has now reduced as more fallow areas allowing recharge has been diverted for the above stakeholders, bringing us to the research and recognized areas available for the same. A road network has emerged during the previous decade, which imperious in its nature of design, creating blocks of land masses surrounded by these roads. These roads, which we can here call land dividers, are usually higher than the surrounding areas. Due to this height, they act as small bunds to restrict the runoff during the monsoon, which predominantly provides 90% of the fresh water in the region. A concept of road runoff emerged wherein flood, excess water, runoff, etc. would be put back in the unconfined aquifers through series of recharge beds, lying preferably along the northern sides here and along runoff flow areas of the region. There is a network of about 56 lakh kilometers of road in India. Imagine. This would not be easy at first due to some of the following reasons. Debris flow during flooding, chemical and fertilizers uses by farmers which can cause contamination, etc. In order to provide the strata, stakeholders along with the government will have responsibilities. The stakeholders will have to do without summer paddy, which accounts for more than half of the yearly consumption of groundwater, as well as introduce natural herbal pesticides and fertilizers. The government, on the other hand, will have to ensure R&D into newer agricultural practices as well as more monetary benefits, including minimum selling price for produce and direct marketing, etc. The UN General Assembly in 1993 designated March 22 as World Water Day. And over the years, as water resources are increasingly critically threatened and access to safe drinking water to greater number of people become a growing reality, this day has become very important for policymakers. The thematic report published by UN on wastewater showed that wastewater has been polluting our rivers in the Asia-Pacific region, where more than 80% of the wastewater is not utilized, with India topping the charts, with more than 90% of it not being utilized. The natural aquifers, which have the best properties for drinking water, are forest floor aquifers and aquifers below the river basin. It is most unfortunate that as both these sources of drinking water will have been strained, where forests have continuously reduced and river basins polluted due to poor wastewater management from the inhabited areas as well as industries. This led to an increased demand for sourcing groundwater by human consumption, a 4% stakeholder. Observations in parts of Kashipur reveal alarming receding levels of groundwater. Overpopulation leading to exponential increased strain in this source is the primary cause of it. In many places, population of raw sewage, chemical seepages, etc. have seemingly caused discoloration as well as foul smell in the water, making it a regular feature of digging further. Water harvesting is a common process in various parts of India as well as the world. But as the name suggests, Terai, it was never considered. Reservoirs to provide for good quality of drinking water may be a long-term solution, which was the earlier practice, as Kashipur had 12 lakes and water catchment areas, combined which had now reduced to 2, which 2 are on the verge of drying up. A rooftop rainwater harvesting system could be a solution to this growing demand, wherein rainwater from rooftops would be channelized to revive aquifers. There could be possible pumping of wastewater back into the aquifers, seepage due to ignorance or mismanagement, etc. Although this is carried out by personal underground reservoirs or water tanks, townships here are old and constricted, where built structures were not designed for modification. In order for this method to succeed, certain involvement of the stakeholders shall have to be made aware of their merits and demerits, while the government, which intends to impose taxes on these borewells, in order to control the strata, may provide incentives to incorporate these harvesting methods in the same, which provides incentives. Industries have always been the punching bag for all the complaints, rightfully so. But come to think of it, they are the backbone of economic growth. They provide livelihood to a substantial part of the local population and have the pressure to regularly increase production to keep up the growing market. Industries in these areas are agro-based, and the procurement of their raw data has provided monetary benefits to the agri community. But these industries need water for their processes, and their demands for this resource too is continuously growing. It is evident that there was or is no such policy in place wherein the source of the resource has been listed and therefore are tapping multiple aquifers. Their dependency on groundwater along with the other stakeholders will always and has always been a bone of contention. Surface water being the only other source brings us to work on wastewater systems. Discarded, or let us say unfit for human consumption, a simple yet not so common process of bio-STP, sewage treatment plants, could provide a solution for the same. Sewage water waste passed through a series of natural processes allow the water to be cleansed of impurities. This can then be transported and used by the industries, which will also reduce contamination of our riverbed aquifers and benefit populations downstream. This quantity may not substantiate the quantum required by many, but could reduce the loads on various levels of aquifers. The policy makers should incorporate amend water usage patterns for the industries and provide incentives such as tax reliefs, etc., which it has been given in the past, which has been included in projects such as river development and Ganga rejuvenation plans. Water released from these industries should be transported in lined open canals or pipes after passing through individual or common STPs to the other such industries where townships are not available. Under no circumstances should this water be introduced into the streams or rivers in populated zones. Water has a property of reviving itself approximately 20 kilometers of free natural flow. Allow it for the same. The industries needs to come to a realization that we effectively do not have potable water due to its misuse. May it be excessive usage, improper disposal, etc. The industries needs to work together and reduce the blame game. Now, I would like to introduce to our guest speakers who have done many works in this field. Mr. Farhad Contractor, Mr. Vasudevan Kadlayal, Mr. Piyush Sheikh Sarai, who due to medical reasons could not be here with us today, but has promised to join us in our endeavors. Mr. Ram Satish, Assistant Professor at Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. All the members of this audience being eminent personalities and who have graciously agreed to be a part of this event, settling aside all protocols, we welcome you today too.
Mr. Saurabh Popli is
व्यक्ति और विशेषज्ञ मौजूद हैं जिन्होंने अपना समस्त जीवन कुछ समस्याओं के निवारण के लिए समर्पित कर दिया है। आज की कार्यशाला का शुभ आरंभ हम श्री सौरभ पोपली के विचारों के साथ करते हैं। कृपया करतल ध्वनि से इनका अभिनंदन करें।
बना लिए।
मैं सौरभ हूँ, मैं भोपाल से आया हूँ। मैं स्कूल ऑफ प्लानिंग एंड आर्किटेक्चर में एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर हूँ एंड माय एरिया इज लैंडस्केप्स। I'm very grateful to you for inviting me. I'm very grateful to the British Scholars family, and I'm also extremely grateful to all of you for being here. This is a subject that has been beautifully illustrated and presented by very young minds, and this is a source of great inspiration and also of great optimism for all of us. That the future generation is so conscious and is so aware of its of the importance of the issue of the environment today. So my approach to this is going to be a little, if you don't mind, participative. I would like to have your participation. I'm going to start by asking a few questions, and it would be very nice if I can get some responses. So the idea is to build a sort of a shared vision. Too often we have great initiatives. The government has initiated many initiatives. Private sector also, there are great initiatives. Academic institutions also have their own mandate and also their own interest in issues of the environment. The problem being that often these visions are not shared, and they're not shared. That is one problem. The other obstacle could be that these strategies that then evolve out of those visions are not dovetailed. They do not converge. Sustainability. So the common vision that we have, now we know that we're in a soup. Increasingly, the substance that's most important for us to live, that is water, is slipping out between our fingers, right? We know that in the near future we will have problems related to the availability of water, and related to that, the समाज का पूरा ढांचा actually पानी के ऊपर पुराने ज़माने से व्यवस्था पूरी पानी के ऊपर ही बनी हुई थी, और वो व्यवस्था बची नहीं है. Not much of it is left. So the society will have to find we'll have to build new institutions. We know that. Too often, the task of institution building is left to the government. The government actually, it can provide some sort of vision, but unless that vision is shared by citizens, that vision isn't going to go very far. I'll take this opportunity today to be with all of you. I cannot suggest solutions, but I can ask you all to think, and I would like to request all of you to that if you could all think together, and maybe also try and share our own experiences. So we have some very rich experiences. We'll try and share that today. I spent most of the summer so this is a very rich district in India. I'm actually privileged to be here and to be amongst all of you. This is actually very, in many ways, you have many, the circumstances of Udham Singh Nagar and Kashipur are actually quite fortunate. I worked in Satna district. It's a district which I'll tell you, if you don't mind, I'll take a couple of minutes to explain to you the work that we did. So Satna is actually a very rich landscape. In 2004, an Indian scientist published a paper in which he explained or he advanced a theory that he had found a fossil that contained an early sign of life. So when the fossil was dated, it was found that the fossil dated to about 1.6 billion years before present. When this find came out, it threw the scientific world into a tizzy, because the established date for the arrival of life on Earth is 1.4 billion years before present. And suddenly you have a young upstart who is saying that in fact he has a fossil that is 200 million years before the first recorded sign of terrestrial life on Earth. So he was made to shut up, people shut him up, he sat down. 8 years later, a consortium of American, Australian and European universities got together and they investigated the same find. And they found with all the technology that was available to them, and that, the budget ran into millions of dollars, they found that what he was saying was in fact true. That the earliest sign of life, of terrestrial life on Earth began in the Vindhyas, in India, in the Vindhyas, in Satna district. Satna district is also very interesting because it is also, landscape which is intertwined with the legend of Ram. So Chitrakoot is in Satna district. There are many places like that. Satna district now produces a substantial part of India's cement, and it also produces a lot of rice and wheat. The fact is that there is no water left. There is no water body, and if it hadn't been for this monsoon, there would have been not only have there been recorded mass deaths of animals, because animals have nowhere to go. We can turn on a pipe, we can call a tanker, the government can send a train for water, as it did in Chennai. But where will the animals go? So, and linked to this is the entire cycle of life. If your pollinators die, and there were mass deaths of bees, there have been mass deaths of bats in every Indian city throughout the summer, and for the last 3 summers consecutively. If your pollinators go out of the food chain, you will not have a crop that you're expecting. Your 80% of the water that you are using, you still have as groundwater. You are using it for agriculture. There'll be no use. You'll have to hand pollinate your fields. So this is the, so द फर्स्ट पॉइंट जो मैं आपके सामने बात रखना चाहता हूँ वो सबसे पहले तो ये बात है कि हम सब जुड़े हुए हैं. We are all tied to each other. We may sit, so the current fashion is we are a government institution, so first thing we did when we got the land was we built a wall. हमें जमीन मिली तो हमने अपनी पहचान पूरी करने के लिए सबसे पहले दीवार बना दी. तो वो जो जमीन थी वो एक गौचर थी. Actually it was part of a village ecosystem. It was a human ecological system. जहाँ पे लोग अपनी गाय वगैरह चराया करते थे. तो सारी गायें अब सड़क पे आ गई हैं एमपी की. अब एमपी में जाएंगे तो सारी गाय आपको सड़क पे ही मिलेगी. गौचर को फिर बचा ही नहीं है. अब गाँव में तालाब बने थे. They were lakes. So we inherited the lakes, but we walled them off so that we can access the water, but the village cannot. So the next monsoon, what happened is that when the stream flowed, we lost 2 walls. वो हमारी दीवार ले गई. So in this way, the landscape and everything around us, वो बार-बार हमें यही चीज बता रही है कि हम सब जुड़े हुए हैं और हमने अपने आंखों पे पर्दे डाल रखे हैं और हमने अपने आप को अपने दूसरों से अलग महसूस किया है. तो जो आज मैं आप सबके सामने बात रखना चाहता हूँ वो ये है कि ये जो समस्या है और बहुत गहरी समस्या है, इसमें से कोई एक जन का, एक स्टेक होल्डर का, एक एजेंसी का सिर्फ रोल और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है. इस सब से हम सब की लाइफ, हम सब की दुनिया जुड़ी है. एंड आई वुड लाइक टू प्रेजेंट अ स्मॉल विजन ऑफ अ सस्टेनेबल काशीपुर, ऑफ काशीपुर 2030. वुड यू लाइक टू जॉइन मी इन दैट? So as I just briefly introduced to you, so the point is that if different things. On the one hand, it can mean the capacity of life itself, which doesn't diminish with every passing generation. So to build a system that is sustainable means to build a system which has the ability to which can be used both within this generation as well as which can be of some use to future generations in the same way without losing its ability, its inherent ability or its inherent quality. Now, too often when we think about sustainability, we think merely of the mechanical aspect or the quantifiable aspects of sustainability. In fact, sustainability is a cultural term. For instance, if you talk about the availability of water, sustainability that is linked to the availability of water, we'll realize that in fact the availability of water itself is not a constant, or the use of water or our relationship with water, हमारी जो relationship है पानी के साथ, वो भी कुछ it's not determined. It's only determined if it is by culture. So in the morning we had this beautiful example that was given to us by the additional SP, who shared that when he went to जब वो सुंदरलाल बहुगुणा जी के साथ थे, तो उन्होंने ये पाया कि सुंदरलाल बहुगुणा जी ने 1/3 बाल्टी में नहा भी लिया और कपड़े भी धो लिए और उन्होंने बोला कि मेरा तो काम हो गया, मैंने तुम्हारे लिए भी पानी छोड़ दिया. तो जो ये नोशन है कि how much is enough, how much should a person consume, this is a key notion when we consider the object of sustainability, because clearly we want to be a sustainable society, but we don't have the resources that perhaps somebody in a rich or in a developed country or in US or in the Europe has. And Europe, even 15 years ago, has a food footprint that is 7 times the size of that continent. So clearly we can't be sustainable if Europe thinks that it's moving towards a sustainable pathway. It's not necessary that the same pathway will apply to us. we will have to find our own trajectory. We will have to find our own pathways for sustainability in a way that is both culturally relevant as well as equitable. To Samaj, which doesn't fray the bonds of which doesn't fray the fabric of society. So this is something that requires it requires us to consider both what is available to us as well as what we need to protect to be able to ensure for intergenerational equity. So as I understand it, to have a vision of a sustainable and of Kashipur, of sustainable Kashipur, involves actually we could look at it in three ways, and three intertwined ways. These are not exclusive, these are intertwined. So the first is that all societies must rely on the availability of some natural resources. Those natural resources must continue to be available. We may redefine we may choose, or we may, in times of stress, modify our consumption, but at some level they must be available. I just gave you the example of mass deaths in Panna Tiger Reserve. Panna Tiger Reserve is a beautiful place. It's an absolutely wild natural landscape. It's still relatively untouched. Historically, there have been many droughts in Bundelkhand. Bundelkhand is an area that is always prone to drought. And yet, Panna Tiger Reserve, has always had very rich wildlife. But this year, there have been reports of extensive deaths amongst both arboreal species as well as terrestrial species. So the first point that I'd like to make to you is that a vision for a resilient Kashipur requires ecological resilience. I'd like to define resilience. Resilience is a great concept. It's a very powerful concept as well as tool. It speaks of the ability of a system to recover from shock. We've had in Madhya Pradesh almost 2 years of low rainfall. Last year the rainfall was about half of what it should have been. I'm sure Kashipur is also affected. And also, I don't know, I'm sure that you are aware of the ABC. Do you know what the ABC is? ABC? The Asian brown cloud. So the Asian brown cloud is a climate phenomenon that is hanging above the Tarai region. It is 3 kilometers in thickness. If it hadn't been for this monsoon, it would have played a very important role in the Asian brown cloud is a cloud of dust and smoke. It's 3 kilometers thick. It's hanging above the entire sub-Himalayan belt from Assam to Jammu and Kashmir. And this is what is creating, in large part, it is not only, you see, there is climate change. So today there's a science that has firmly established climate change. The IPCC is very clear about this, that temperatures are rising and a whole lot of weather patterns are now being disrupted. But what happens is that the Tarai region is most deeply affected by, one of the areas that is most deeply affected by climate change. Do you know this? And the reason is that the Asian brown cloud magnifies the effect of the climate change. The scientists is telling us that the Asian brown cloud is magnifying the effect of climate change, which is happening everywhere, to the factor of 2 or 3 times. So in the future, it is quite likely that the weather patterns will be more erratic than they have been now. We are already in October, it rained today morning. Right? How normal is that? So the departure from the normal is the new normal. And climate patterns, we know, across India are departing from the normal. We are still having rains in Madhya Pradesh. Rain should have stopped a month ago. So the first aspect is the ability of a system to, can I?
Small point. What is the height of the ABC from the ground? What is the height at which it is?
So it's about, I think, I'm not too sure about it. I'm not a scientist, but I think it starts about 1,000
meters above the Shivalik Range.
Sorry, sir?
It's about 500 meters above the Shivalik Range.
500. Yeah. So I was going to say,
all the way up to Afghanistan.
yeah, I was going to say 2,000 feet, but he's probably right. It's 1,500 feet above the Shivalik Range, but it's 3 kilometers thick. So the first point is the ability of the ecological, the system that supports life, the life support system, to come back after a state of shock, after a bad monsoon, after 2 years of no rainfall or very high temperatures, will the ecological system come back? This is something that you have to worry about. The second thing is economic resilience. If the weather patterns change, which sectors are badly affected? Agriculture will be badly affected. What will it mean to the economy, to the rural economy? How can we buttress, how can we improve, how can we give strength to the rural economy or the agricultural economy or the agricultural connected economy from that economic shock? And the third aspect is cultural resilience. What will change when some people have suddenly no livelihood, have no money, have no way to, don't have the resources to buy water? The person who was bringing me was from Roorkee yesterday. I was driving from Roorkee, and he was telling me that there are now mafia wars which take place between tanker owners, because this is the scale of that business. The tanker business in NCR is now at that scale, and so much of it is actually being supplied. When the canals are stopped for maintenance purposes, the tanker business booms. I'll stop here. Let's go to the next one. So there are four aspects of a resilient society. I'm not going to go into much, but we know that we need a strong economy. We know that we need equity, and we need to look after those who can't. In a time of difficulty, there will be people who will fall out of the system. You need to protect them. There will be an environmental system that will be affected, right? Your rivers, our rivers have run dry. I don't know. You're still lucky. But you might have other kinds of risks. There might be this is a seismically active area. There might be other kinds of risks. So you have to think about that. There are social risks involved. And there is a whole thing about building resilient institutions, or having institutions build resilience. Now this is an aspect which is both related to schools as well as related to higher education institutions. And this is something that, this is a clear area where higher education institutions can contribute to the building of a resilient Kashipur 2030. So 2030 is also the year when the SDGs are focused towards 2030. In the immediate, they are focused towards the next 3-4 years, but eventually the goal is 2030. Incidentally, since I'm standing here, I'd also like to share that this is the United Nations designated decade for small farms, for family farms, right? The reason why the United Nations across the globe, the United Nations works in almost 200 countries around the world, and it's saying that the focus for the next 10 years should be on family-owned farms. There is a reason why. Because this is your bulwark against climate change. This is what will help people if people have not lost their connection to the land, and we can build those institutions that will support that minor agricultural activity. It will be a key player in the fight against climate change. So the first thing that we need to do is to revisit existing approaches. The second thing is to understand that we're all stakeholders. There's nobody who's not a stakeholder. A person may have more ability or they may have less ability, but everybody is a stakeholder. Everybody must have a voice. Everybody must have a right as well as a responsibility. Are we all together on this? All of us have rights, but we also have responsibilities. And then the problem with sustainability is that it's a wicked problem. Do you know what a wicked problem is? A wicked problem in science is that problem that is very hard to address, right? As the name suggests, because there are no clear pathways, there are no clear solutions. One of the problems with sustainability, and the reason why it's a wicked problem, is because sustainability spans across. In society we have divided ourselves into sectors. So there's an agriculture sector, there's an industry sector, there's a mining sector, there's so many sectors. But sustainability concerns everybody. But we've started thinking sectorally. We think sectorally. I'm a technocrat, I'm an engineer. So I don't care about what my bridge does to the river. My job is to span the river. So most of the time, the bridges that you find are actually not bridges. My friend, Mr. Mishra, he calls those bridges actually false bridges. He calls them actually dams, because most of the time they alter the flow of the river. So an engineer who only cares about getting people across isn't the kind of engineering that you need in the future. you need to build an overall understanding of the concept of sustainability across sectors. And this is key if you want to make it to 2030 with well-being as the agenda. So what I'm suggesting here is that while we have we have all kinds of targets. We want to make Bharat Swachhta, we have the Swachhta Abhiyan, we have the ODF Abhiyan, we have so many Abhiyan. All these are very good approaches. But these are strategies. What is our vision? And my suggestion is to this very August gathering is that our vision should be well-being. Our vision should be something that concerns both our lives, the quality of our lives, as well as the quality of lives of everybody else who inhabits the same space. So landscape actually becomes a very useful thing because it is the place where all of this is happening. Everything is happening on a landscape. So we also need strategies so there are conflicts and we need to identify those conflicts and we need to develop strategies and institutions that will address those conflicts. I know this is getting a little long-winded, but I'll end soon. Please bear with me. We all know that we are often working at cross purposes. So the Agriculture Department and the extension of the Agriculture Department, they're pushing for hybrid seed, right? And fertilizer and pesticide and all of that. And we know that that's playing a role also. We know that we're increasing emissions. We may soon not have between 3,000 and 5,000 liters of water to generate 1 kg of rice. Scientists already are calling water our greatest export. Our greatest export, India's biggest export is nothing else, it's water. We export our water. We don't have any. We pull out from the earth and we export it in the form of a food grain. We sell corn, we sell wheat, we sell rice. We actually sell our water. Our water is going out. So, and the Agriculture Department is actually helping us. So what we need to do, we know that there are problems with our policy, and we know that there are problems with the way that different departments see their work. But we need to start bridging these things. We need to start talking, and that's why a stakeholdership of all sections of society is very important to be able to do this. And all of this starts to happen in a space, in a real. So, unless we have a concept, or my suggestion to you, and this is the work that also I'll be showing you very briefly. This is some of the work that me and some of the other people that I'm associated with also do, is to build shared visions. None of this can happen unless we have a shared vision that, this is Kashipur, and we are talking about a place with which, you have had maybe generations of, familial history. So this is not just an abstract place. It's a place that we call home. I'd like to share with you, so this is the place that I was working. I don't know, how does it play? It is an ancient, this part of the Vindhyan system, the system that I was just telling you about. This is the same landscape that then continues up to Chitrakoot and then further of the Ganga valley. So this is the only tributary this is one of the few tributaries. This is the landscape of the Tamas River, and the Tamas River is a tributary. It runs 300 kilometers in a northeasterly direction and joins the Ganga a little further from Allahabad. And this area, you see, that is still an agricultural landscape. It's still a pristine. It's a very nice, it's a very beautiful landscape. But thank you all very much. I'll end here. Thank you all very much. We can do a summing up later. So can I request my friend Vasu to come and share a little bit about the work that he did. So Vasu is here.
Good evening. I don't have, but we also do some amount of policy consulting where Bangalore is. Today, of course, about villages of Bangalore in that area always relied on a very simple system of creating, identifying a low land just outskirts of the village. They'll build a bund and they'll collect water and they'll use that rainwater throughout the year. So we get both rains with northeast monsoons. And that's how people use that. In fact, the caste system, there was a particular caste that actually maintained the bunds of the lake. And there was another caste that was responsible for the security of the lake, so that nobody adulterates it, nobody misuses the lake, things like that. But with the advent of the British coming there, the system of management of lakes started breaking down. Through the Mysore Maharaja, they started taking over the administration of the lakes, and very quickly they found that they couldn't actually administer the lakes, and because of which the whole thing went into a decline. With an emergence of Bangalore as a larger city over the last century, the government themselves went ahead and covered lakes. For example, the main interstate bus stand in Bangalore is on one of the big lakes of Bangalore. The football stadium called the Kantirua Stadium is on a lake bed. The National Games Village, we hosted the National Games sometime late 90s, 97 or 98. The entire village was built on the Koromangala Lake. So the government themselves have done a lot of covering. Where I stay in South Bangalore, there is a Bangalore Development Authority planned layout called ST bed, which is Srinivagulu tank bed. So there was an active. Of course, then the builders also followed suit, and there was no legal protection for these lakes. But there are still about 200 odd lakes which are there. Most of these lakes across Bangalore are interconnected. So from one village to the other, the lakes are interconnected. Because if one village, if one lake overflows, then there was a series of streams that would go and then connect to another lake. Today, a lot of those linkages are getting broken. Many of the lakes are also becoming sewer pits because we don't have, the Bangalore Water Supply Authority has not been able to give proper water supply as well as sewerage connections properly. So a lot of people, they just simply leave it on the road, or it just goes on and then joins the lake. So we found this lake in a similar situation many years ago. This was in 2009-10, around that time. The lake was filled with sewage. There was sewage coming from across, there were apartment blocks around the entire area. So the entire land is about 48-50 acres of land. And what we essentially did was, this whole movement was started by a set of citizens, some of them who have become good friends of mine now. So there was somebody from, who was a documentary filmmaker. She was doing a lot of documentary films for National Geographic and Discovery. And she happened to build a house close by. And then when she took a walk there and she discovered this beautiful property and the state that it was in. So she felt that she needed to kind of create something. So her name is Priya Ramsubban, and Priya started this whole thing along with two other people. One was Ramesh Shivraman, who was also quite politically active there. He knew the people in that area. And then there was an ecologist called Harini Nagendra. So she sort of has a very deep understanding of how different species are actually sustained by the lake. So there are species of birds, there are snakes, there are fishes, there are so many things that is a part of it's a living ecosystem. So all these things were sort of getting destroyed. And there was also a social connection to the lake. So we had during Durga Puja or during Ganesh Chaturthi, they would come and actually drop their Ganeshas into that. There were pujas being conducted on the lake. There were various other cultural connotations. The village nearby would take their cows and buffaloes to have a bath in the lake. And these are all inherent connections that were slowly getting broken. So we actually co-opted the village also together, and they sort of helped us. They understood the importance of, because they had seen in their childhood how the lake was and how it is now. So we then sort of put together a plan, and luckily for us, Bangalore Development Authority has a special lake division. So the chief engineer of the lake division was very helpful, and he was sort of willing to hear us out and our ideas and things like that. And he actually created a budget of about 2.5 crores in that to kind of create. In fact, in this particular case, we actually reduced the government's budget. They were willing to even take it up to about 3 or 4 crores. But we said that we don't need to go into that high specifications because it will be then difficult to maintain it. So these were just some of the diagrams that we created. That's how the lake looks. We photographed this probably 3-4 months ago. And you can see that there are a lot of apartment complexes all around in that area. And we have created a 2-kilometer walking track all around. So there is a walking and a jogging track. On the lower side, which you cannot see, there is a separate Kalyani that we have created so that the Ganesha Murtis and Durga Puja, all those Murtis can come and be immersed in that. We have also constructed a series of toilets, both for there's a school right at the end, on the far end on the right hand side, who needed a new toilet block and they didn't have enough space in their land, so we created that. And also we created another public toilet on this side. We also created an amphitheater at the far end. So today we have about 1,000 people visiting the lake on a daily basis because there are a lot of apartments there. They come for their morning walks, they come for their jogs and things like that. So it's open from 5 to about 11 in the morning and then about 4 to 7 in the evening. So there's also a wetland area right at the back of the lake which we didn't want to touch. So when the lake dried up, you could actually see land, and then when it so it was like a buffer system against the overflow. These are the cycling track. The paved area is only the cycling track, whereas the other portion is a jogging, walking track. So the government actually wanted to pave the entire area. We said no, we don't need to pave the entire area. Just pave 1/3 of the area, and the 2/3 of the area we'll keep it for walking and jogging. Amphitheater, and this amphitheater is being used quite a bit nowadays for some cultural meets, or people just wanting to have, they just need to take a permission from security and then go and have a small meeting there if they want to. So those are the pictures. So the important thing here is not about what we did, but I think the important thing is how we did it. So we had at least 10 or 12 people from different walks of life coming together. We were able to, from my company, we were able to give the technical know-how. But more important than that was the fact that there was somebody who was willing to go every day to the government office until they got the plan approved, to be able to pull strings. There was another person who was looking for funding because initially the government funding was not coming. So, and I participated in that as a pro bono. I said I will not take any fee on this project. So a lot of people actually came together volunteering their services. The other gentleman actually brought in about 2,000 saplings. He got it at a very cheap rate and he came and did the entire planting in that area. So a lot of people, and the study today, the monitoring continues. So we've got a voluntary organization that continues to monitor situation there. Sometimes new apartment complexes come, they start leaving the sewage, then we have to do some amount of policing. We sometimes actually take the police and go to the developer, So that's another aspect, that we need to have an organization or a mechanism that will help in continuously maintaining and monitoring the whole place. So that's the story of this thing. Just in the same breath, we also did, this was on a professional level where we did green building codes. The reason why I'm saying this is because, again, similarly, like how it was in the lake, it was a collaborative effort. So it was a collaborative effort where architects, engineers, developers, contractors, building material manufacturers, bankers, insurance people who had anything to do with the construction industry, all of them came together and they did a...
What is the water level there? Water level?
In this particular lake?
Yeah.
In this particular lake, the water level is...
That particular area?
Yeah. You're talking about the groundwater, or
Yes.
which is house must be about maybe 200 meters. Yeah.
जो ये अराउंड कॉलोनीज हैं,
हाँ जी।
यहाँ के रेजिडेंट पानी का सोर्स क्या है उनका?
बैंगलोर में ज्यादातर बोरवेल से होता है काम।
इंडिविजुअल है।
हाँ हाँ, इंडिविजुअल प्लॉट्स के लिए।
उसमें तो ज्यादा पानी इस्तेमाल होता है।
हाँ वो तो है। तो this
How you can reduce that?
correct. So now we do not have a legal framework in Bangalore to be able to draw. अगर करना है तो
ये है ना,
हाँ जी।
कि how to conserve the clean water.
correct
उसका कम से कम यूज कैसे हो सकता है,
हाँ।
कैसे बचाया जा सकता है?
correct
तो ये जो हम इंडिविजुअल कॉलोनीज में इंडिविजुअल लोग इस्तेमाल करते हैं, वो बहुत ज़्यादा पानी होता है, उसे कैसे रिड्यूस करेंगे?
अच्छा, तो उसका तो completely अलग प्रेजेंटेशन हो सकता है उसमें।
Water harvesting is also there in Bangalore. The lake where the water is being collected, it also recharges the body around the area.
That
The
is
water
correct.
is being charged, and by that we are using, and
That
that
is
is definitely a clean water which is safe to drink.
Definitely, definitely. What you're saying is absolutely correct. Again, each of the city in some ways is connected to the rainwater harvesting as an important aspect of it. But the ecology of the city is not just about human needs. It's also about animal needs, the flora and fauna. And like Saurabh said, we are all connected at a very large level.
We are
You know,
connected.
and if the pollinators, for example, disappear, then we have a problem there. So here, this particular focus is more in terms of citizen cooperation, citizen activism, and about the ecology of the area. Like, for example, why can't Kashipur revive all the 12 lakes over the next 10 years, maybe? You know, and that can be a fantastic way of going forward. So, rainwater harvesting is a very
Kashipur area के जो lakes, you can create new lakes,
Yes.
but you can't revive them.
But one thing is there. Don't you feel now you are having left with very less number of lakes? But one more thing is there. How many of you have revived there?
where in Bangalore.
Bangalore, yes.
In Bangalore, Lake River, the government of Karnataka established what is called as a Lake Development Authority. Because what's happening is the jurisdiction of the lakes are under different people. So some are under municipal corporation, some are under the Department of Minor Irrigation, some are under defense because defense has occupied those lands, and these are all interconnected. So, like Saurabh said, you cannot have walls around it. You know, so we have, and Lake Development Authority is the coordinating agency for all these people. Now there is a large master plan being done in terms of actually looking at reviving various lakes, and each of those lakes have a different function. Some lakes, for example, like Gaikonadi Lake, the one that we work, has an public access function. There are certain lakes which need not be publicly accessible, but they are only for the ecology of that area. So it might be in terms of the trees and the flora and the fauna and the general thing. So there is a intention that has happened in terms of a planning, you know. And there are some lakes which हमने छोड़ दिया है, मतलब कुछ हो नहीं सकता इसका. You know, there is no water inflow coming there. There's no point in, there is no way you can revive the lake. You know, you can might as well just make it a park or something like that. So it's a multi-pronged approach that people have done.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah.
But over the time, the population of Bangalore has increased like
Yes.
me.
Yes.
And if we don't do these kind of activities over there,
Yes.
it will be very, very difficult even to take your breath over there.
Yes, absolutely.
The quality of air which is declining,
Yes.
and this is the need, otherwise it will be very difficult for us to survive too. Especially on these cities, where the big cities which are coming up and which are not even planned properly. Because whosoever the builder is coming over there, he is only concerned that how much profit he is going to get.
Okay.
He is not concerned about the maintaining the ecological balance. This is for the government and for the persons who are living to go and ask the government not to give them permission.
Okay.
But this is somewhere, this portion is missing. And because of this portion is missing, these
It is wicked, not just because it is something that is global, it is something which is highly interconnected. It is also wicked because we ourselves are a part of the problem. We are not willing to give up our diesel fueled SUV. I run a diesel fueled SUV. In a polluted city like Bangalore, I should not be running a diesel fueled SUV. But I do it. I have my own practical reasons for it. Certain practical reasons for it. Now, there are so many things like this. I live in an apartment that is still drawing water from a borewell. Today I am buying I'm buying tankers every second day, 12,000 liters, because I don't have, my borewell is right up. So I have to first question myself, and that is the duty of each one of us in the world actually. There is this issue that it's very easy for us to say, ye problem hai, wo problem hai. Lekin, how am I being a part of the problem and what can I do in order to solve it? I had a conscience problem burning fuel from Bangalore to coming here. That I have that many miles of fuel has been burned just to come and be a part of this meeting. So there is that issue of personal, the connection between personal and
जितनी भी कॉलोनीज डेवलप हो रही हैं, वो भी ग्राउंड वाटर ले रही हैं.
Resources, water resources now at about 1500 feet below ground level. The number of years that we are using water, it is called fossil water actually. We are using water which is 70,000 years old. The borewell water that we use is 70,000 years old. In order for it to fully revive at that deep underground aquifer level, at that confined aquifer level, it will take 700 years. 700 years is what it will take. So, problem there. So I'll end that with this. If there are any questions, definitely welcome them. Yes, sir.
But this thing, because this connection, where we say that these persons are below poverty line, not even the middle person is not concerned about this thing. Only the upper class, they can really make the change. And I am very happy today, and I thank to LS people also, that they have arranged really those persons who are sitting here, they can really bring the change in the city. They can manage the things in many ways, economically, financially. They can motivate the people, because some of the industries are also sitting here. Nowadays, the politician is having so much concern, and each and every industry is having so much pressure, and most of the industries have put such plants, they are not discharging even a drop of water, what they are consuming. They have to recycle and finish that water within the unit only,
Right.
within the industry.
Right. So that's right. I mean, at least
Doing that, but definitely, farmer, we are having approximately 55%.
People who are actually doing practical work, why can't you just make a checklist at the end of this session for Kashipur? Because it's been many years, people are sitting together, talking, trying to do something, but we don't have a plan, and we don't have people who can practically make that plan. We don't have ecologists here, we don't have landscape people, we don't have people like you. So there we have politicians, there we have the head of all the societies, all the organizations, here we are learned people. Just make a plan, a checklist for the politicians out here, for us. And we have lake, we have ecology, we have resources, we have everything, but we don't have a plan. These talks, I think that at the end of it, again we will go back to our jobs, we won't do anything. So let them, and then after a year, come and check it whether they are doing it or not, or whether we are doing it or not. That is a request from you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Can I? तो अनुपम मिश्रा जी के वो है शागिर्द हैं, और ऐसे हमारे साथ बहुत सारे लोग जुड़े हुए हैं जो अब आपके साथ जुड़ गए हैं. So the point here is that ये किसी एक जन का, एक एजेंसी का और एक डिपार्टमेंट का काम नहीं है, ये सबका काम है. और इसका सोल्यूशन भी सबको मिलके ही निकालना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये सबको रिलेटेड है। तो हम आपके सामने चेकलिस्ट नहीं रखेंगे ना, ये चेकलिस्ट आप ही बनाएंगे। तो जब हम सब मिलके चेकलिस्ट बनाएंगे, हम सब हमारे साथ चलेंगे। Is that okay? Do you all agree? जी।
तो उसके बाद जो एंड है, चाहे सेव वाटर का ही एंड है या स्वच्छ भारत का ही एंड है, वो कहीं पे आके रुक जाता है। मीन्स हम उल्टा नहीं चल पाते, हम सीधा चलने की कोशिश करते हैं और एक जगह में रुक जाते हैं। वी एक्चुअली नीड पीपल टू कम हियर एंड सी द प्रॉब्लम, बिकॉज उसका सोल्यूशन किसी के पास नहीं है। वी हैव बीन टू एवरीवन, मगर फाइनली वो भी, उनके भी हाथ बंधे हुए हैं, बिकॉज चाहे वो पॉलिटिशियंस हो, चाहे हम ही लोगों में जितने भी क्लब्स के लोग हों, तो वो इसके बाद क्या, देयर इज़ नो एंड। वी विल डू एनीथिंग फॉर स्वच्छ भारत। हम अपने टू वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम अब वो लाके कहाँ डंप करने, देयर इज़ नो एंड टू इट। तो क्या होता है, वहीं पे रुक जाता है। ऑल वी वांट फ्रॉम यू इज़ कि, मैंने बीच में इसमें रोका भी, ख़त्म भी नहीं हुए सबके लेक्चर्स, बट देन इसीलिए कि वो सोल्यूशन जो है, जहाँ पे भी वो एग्जाम्पल हुए हैं, अगर वो कोई सजेस्ट कर जाएगा तो दैट विल बी ग्रेट एंड हेल्पफुल हम सब लोगों के लिए। आई रियली लुक फॉरवर्ड टू दिस।
Thank you very much. Again, I'll respond to that.
क्यों वहाँ पानी की कमी है। बैंगलोर में आप कह रहे हैं पानी sustain that population. It is about time you can operate IT anywhere where there is water in India. Why is it that we are still क्या कहते हैं कि having that IT industry over there, bringing in lakhs of people and still bringing in more people? I won't name the department, I won't name the company, but it is high time that you क्या कहते हैं कि leave Bangalore to the people of Bangalore, to the residents of Bangalore. If I am wrong, please क्या कहते हैं कि ना, look here, जो वहाँ के वाशिंदे हैं उनको रहने दीजिए जैसे आप हैं, but don't bring in people from all over India and set up industries over there and it cannot sustain itself. That's what I'm saying. You wanted your opinion. A river that is flowing through and it is full of foam. Yes. And nobody knows what that foam is. But you see, the only thing they say is it is polluted. See, so you have got to पहले आप Hyderabad को संभालिए ना. Tell the government you are in the advisory. Tell the government enough is enough. No more.
Right. I am Kashipur, and both Saurav and also they have given a very nice talk. Actually, it is all about encouragement. And I'll go to the point where Madam has raised a very good question. What after this presentation? I think they are from outside, and I don't think they can be present here all the time. I think it's our responsibility. So let me just give you an example and share my thing, and that's the reason I have come and joined you people. I was in South India for 25 years. I have spent 22 years at IIM Kozhikode. And the first thing when we started our campus, it was to build up percolation tanks. And today, after 20 years, if you go to IIM Kozhikode campus, you will have 3 or 4 big ponds, and where we are totally self-sustainable in terms of water. And when I joined here 3 months ago, we have a small lake. Actually, in Kashipur, there are not 2 lakes, there are 3 lakes. We have revived that lake. That lake spreads over 2.5 acres. Please come and visit my campus, IIM Kashipur. I can show you how we can achieve. And what I did actually, I have to spend more than 4 or 5 lakhs. In fact, my students have contributed a lot. I called them in the morning at 6:30. They came over there, and we did actually. In fact, we have formed a human chain because it was full of weeds. We have cleaned. I have the photographs, but I can share you right now with you later on. And I think what we can do after this workshop is over, I can invite all of you who are interested, who are seriously interested. Please come to my campus. I'll give you the platform. Let us come together, and we'll put pressure on the local MAs. Even in fact, Mr. Chima was here in my campus 2 months ago. I showed him what we have done with it. And I think why don't we actually, why we should look at other people coming and helping us. We have to help ourselves. So please welcome, whether this school or all the schools come together, we'll follow. Let us pick up one lake which has died down in this city. We will revive that collectively. Some efforts are required, and under the CSR fund also we can tap some money from the local industry over here. I don't think it's a big thing. We can do it. If we can do it, then in fact, what has happened? I've spent almost around 5 to 6 lakhs on that lake, and now I'm asking SBI, State Bank of India, which is going to run a new retail shop in our campus, please give me some money. We spend money as a part of your CSR activity, why don't you give us money? And we spend that money somewhere else. So I think what whenever you rightly pointed out, you're a bit disappointed that after 6 and 7 workshops, what has happened? I think let us know. I think I have met all the learned people from Kashipur city, and they're very, very active because they have very rich people, rich farmers are there, industrialists are there, good politicians are there. Why don't we join hands? So please come, and I will request the school authorities of the Vision Valley, if you can, give me a chance, let us come together and we do something. I am saying, we'll have a platform only. Okay. And I'm sure we can reach out to the district magistrate, Commissioner of Kumau, Mr. Rotella. I have some 2 impressions with him. And you know, he's so deeply involved in custody this road, which is coming all the way from our campus to this particular point. And he's trying to best to revive this road. So we can always put collective pressure on them and the politicians. Luckily, actually, most of them have left the venue. But let us be at our own. So this I just wanted to have a word about you. Thank you. I had just 2 meetings with him. That's all.
No, that is very true. It took more than 5 years. That stretch, which is just left, and the people are not in a position to even move.
In my recently 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, I had a meeting with the Commissioner of Kumau, Mr. Rutella. You know what I told him? I told him one thing, and he knows. He came to the campus, he did some effort, but they failed. I just told him, came from this road, I find it was full of kids, and I was wondering how the school kids are going. And he got that it's a very, very emergent, that's a very urgent issue. Next week, he called me again. He called all the engineers, chief engineers, PWD, all of them, they were there, and he has given them a deadline and everything that you have to do this thing. Hopefully, in next 6 months, it can be done, or maybe a year also.
Let us hope,
Yeah.
hope for the best. India is a great country. Maybe 4 years, एक बहला का पुल बन रहा है जो छोटा सा है, वो आज तक कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ है.
I just want to say.
The work is going on.
Sir,
Yeah.
this is not my domain.
I will request you. I will make a small request. You please call board of Kashipur.
President came over here. President was there.
Mr. Javadekar, HRD Minister came to your IIM campus. HRD Minister, Mr. Javadekar, he came to your campus, and within one night, the road from the Kundeshwari, that corner, that was built up in complete one night. Don't tell me
Let me brief this gathering about the Drona Sagar, that is a project for the revival of clear water. Drona Sagar is believed to be associated with Guru Dronacharya, teacher of the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Many believe that the Drona Sagar was created by the Pandavas as a Guru Dakshina for Dronacharya. The excavation site at Drona Sagar is protected by the Archaeological Survey of India, and the ruins of a large human settlement are still visible in and around Kashipur. In Iskand Puran, the water of Drona Sagar has been described as holy as that of river Ganga. Let's analyze the prevailing scenario. Here we are comparing Neknambur Lake in Rangareddy district of Andhra Pradesh with Drona Sagar Lake in Kashipur. We plan to use floating treatment wetlands based on soil based hydroponic style. Today's condition is really frightening.
I would like to draw everybody's attention just for the last few minutes, please.
Today's condition is really frightening. The lake is drying. Water from the feeder sources such as Drona Sagar Canal have been discontinued, causing a drought-like condition. And if the bleak scenario continues to prevail, then death of this lake is certain. Absence of flowing water disrupts oxidation, which is vital for the survival of any water body. The need of the hour is to restore the Drona Sagar lake through concentrated efforts. The solution is really simple. It doesn't matter how many prayers we say. The Almighty will only be pleased when we start respecting His blessings. Wake up. The local governing bodies may lend a helping hand. The irrigation department is willing to provide water, but it is necessary to have a regular communication with it. Initiative like today's program may include school and college students working towards certain sensitive issues like clear water revival to save whatever little is left. We would like to have a commitment from people of various departments, local bodies present here, as well as factory owners to provide us the necessary help. यह कार्यक्रम तब तक अपने लक्ष्य को प्राप्त नहीं कर पाएगा जब तक यहाँ पर उपस्थित सभी लोग एक दूसरे के साथ सहयोग नहीं करेंगे। हमारे जल संसाधन बहुत जल्दी विलुप्त हो जाएंगे अगर हम ऐसे ही आगे भी मिलते रहेंगे पर करेंगे कुछ नहीं। यहाँ से बाहर जाते ही आप अपने अपने जीवन में व्यस्त हो जाएंगे। तो चलिए आज एक पहल करते हैं, जल से ही जीवन। We the students of Kashipur would like to invite someone to enlighten the gathering on today's theme.
From Kalpataru to come forward and say a few words.
यहाँ आमंत्रण देने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सबसे पहले यहाँ सभी सम्मानित लोगों को, जिसमें काशीपुर और दूसरी जगहों के बहुत से अलग अलग क्षेत्रों के गणमान्य जन उपस्थित हैं, लिटिल स्कॉलर स्कूल्स के प्रिंसिपल, टीचर्स और स्टूडेंट्स हैं, आप सभी को मैं आज गांधी जयंती और लाल बहादुर शास्त्री जी की जयंती की शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। और मैं अपनी बात गांधी जी की एक बहुत फेमस, बहुत प्रसिद्ध उक्ति से ही शुरू करना चाहता हूं। जब गांधी जी ने कहा था कि इस धरती के पास इंसान की आवश्यकताओं की पूर्ति के लिए तो बहुत कुछ है, लेकिन इंसान के लालच के लिए धरती के पास जो कुछ है वो कम पड़ जाएगा। और आज जिस चर्चा को हम कर रहे हैं वो चर्चा हमें आखिर में उसी एक सेंटेंस की ओर ले जाती है, उसी एक वाक्य की ओर ले जाती है कि इंसान का लालच ही इंसान का सबसे बड़ा दुश्मन बन बैठा है। अगर एक शब्द में इस बात को परिभाषित किया जाए, जिन समस्याओं की चर्चा आज हम यहाँ कर रहे हैं, चाहे वो पानी की समस्या है, हवा की समस्या है, क्लाइमेट चेंज की समस्या है, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग की समस्या है, उसके पीछे एक ही चीज है और वो है इंसान का लालच। मैं रामनगर में रहता हूं और यकीन मानिए मैं जब भी किसी अपनी डिपार्टमेंटल मीटिंग या किसी और काम से काशीपुर आता हूं तो मेरी यहां सांस फूलती है। और एक रामनगर वासी होने के नाते मैं आप काशीपुर वालों से कहना चाहता हूं कि यदि कोई विजन आप अपने लिए रखना चाहते हैं तो प्लीज ऐसा विजन रखिए कि एक रामनगर वाले को यहां आते समय यह ना सोचना पड़े कि कब मेरा काम निपटे और कब मैं वापस भाग जाऊं, क्योंकि उसका दम फूलता है यहां पे। रामचंद्र गुहा ने एक किताब लिखी थी, उसका टॉपिक है हाउ मच ए मैन शुड कंज्यूम, और हिंदी में उसका टाइटल है, शीर्षक है उपभोग की लक्ष्मण रेखा। और ये जो हिंदी का इसका शीर्षक है उपभोग की लक्ष्मण रेखा, मुझे लगता है ये बहुत ही एप्ट है, बहुत ही उपयुक्त है ये बताने के लिए कि आज ये समस्याएं कहां तक पहुंच गई हैं। उसमें रामचंद्र गुहा एक सवाल उठाते हैं, एक बात कहते हैं कि आज इंसान की आबादी 6 अरब हो गई है और बहुत ही जल्दी 8 अरब हो जाएगी। आप उस समय की कल्पना कीजिए, जस्ट इमेजिन ऑफ अ सिचुएशन where because of this so-called growth and development, every single human being, that means 6 billion human beings of this earth, of all these 6 billion people, everyone is having his own car. Think of a situation. Think of this situation from an environmental point of view. आज अगर हम देखें इंडिया में तो हमारा जो पर 1000 जो कार अवेलेबिलिटी है या जो हम ओन करते हैं वो शायद 24 या 36 है। तो आप ये सोचिए जब 1000 में से 1000 के पास कार होगी, 100 करोड़ 150 करोड़ की आबादी के पास हर एक के पास अपना एक व्हीकल होगा, हम कहां चले जाएंगे फिर? तब तो गैस चैम्बर भी नहीं रहेगा, पता नहीं क्या बन जाएगा। तो हमें ये सोचना होगा। हम प्रेजेंटेशंस के माध्यम से, लेटेस्ट साइंटिफिक रिसर्च के माध्यम से बहुत सी बातें यहां पर कर रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं आपसे एक बहुत छोटी सी बात कहता हूं, सेविंग द वाटर। सुंदरलाल बहुगुणा जी को यहाँ पे कोट किया गया। अगर हम सुबह जब उठते हैं और मुंह धोते हैं ना, अगर उससे हम टैप को केवल एक अंजुल पानी भरने के लिए खोले, केवल एक अंजुल पानी भरने के लिए खोले, तो आप जानते हैं हम एक बार में कितना पानी बचाएंगे? कम से कम 1.5 से 2 लीटर पानी। और आप उसको कैलकुलेट कर लीजिए 365 से। इसका मतलब 1000 लीटर पानी तो हम एक साल में केवल अपना मुंह धोने से बचा सकते हैं। मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि आप मुंह मत धोइए, लेकिन यस, मैं ये जरूर कह रहा हूं कि आप न्यूनतम पानी से मुंह धोइए। शुरुआत यहीं से होती है, चैरिटी बिगिंस फ्रॉम होम। और कोई भी बड़ी यात्रा जो होती है वो बड़े छोटे से कदम से शुरू होती है। और इस छोटे से कदम की बात पर मैं एक पागलों की संस्था की बात आपके बीच में यहाँ करना चाहता हूँ, जिसका नाम है कल्पतरु वृक्ष मित्र। और मैं उस संस्था का एक पागल हूँ, और मेरे साथ एक पागल और आया हुआ है यहाँ पे, उसका नाम है इमरान खान। वैसे अपना पेट भरने के लिए वो एक वाइल्ड लाइफ और नेचुरलिस्ट हैं, बट ही इज वन ऑफ द पागल्स ऑफ दिस ग्रुप। हमारी टीम में हर तरह के लोग हैं, उसमें बिजनेसमैन भी हैं, उसमें फार्मर्स भी हैं, उसमें मेरे जैसे कुछ सरकारी कर्मचारी भी हैं, उसमें स्टूडेंट्स भी हैं, यानी कि पीपल फ्रॉम ऑल वॉक्स ऑफ लाइफ, यू नो। और हम सबको एक चीज जोड़ती है, वो है एनवायरनमेंट के लिए हमारी समर्पण भावना। और ये चीज सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी है, क्योंकि हम लोगों ने रामनगर में पिछले 3 साल में 7000 से ज्यादा पौधे लगाए हैं। लेकिन बात प्लांट लगाने तक की नहीं है। हमारा मोटो है, देवकी ही नहीं यशोदा भी। इसका मतलब वी डोंट जस्ट प्लांट अ सैपलिंग, हम इंश्योर करते हैं कि जब तक वो पौधा वृक्ष बनने की तरफ न बढ़ जाए, तो 3 से 5 साल तक हम उस पौधे की देखभाल करते हैं ऑन अ डेली बेसिस, यानी कि 365 दिन साल में हम लोग काम करते हैं। और हमारे पास भी ऐसे लोग हैं जो आप जैसे बहुत व्यस्त हैं, बहुत पैसे वाले भी हैं, बहुत बिजी रहने वाले लोग भी हैं, और आजकल तो सभी बिजी हैं। बट मैं फिर गांधी जी को कोट करूंगा, उन्होंने कहा था, ये बिजी मैन हैज टाइम फॉर एवरीथिंग। मुझे लगता है केवल सरकार को कोसने भर से काम नहीं चलेगा। ठीक है, आईएम की सड़क नहीं बनी 5 साल में, लेकिन फिर क्या, यहां पर आईएम के डायरेक्टर साहब को बोल देने से तो हम अपना गुबार निकाल सकते हैं, सड़क नहीं बनेगी। तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं? हम वो कर सकते हैं कदाचित जो हम लोगों ने किया। हमने गवर्नमेंट से उनका एक बैरन लैंड मांगा और उस पर काम करना शुरू किया। और देखते ही देखते इन 3 सालों में हमने इंडिया का अनडिस्प्यूटेड, इंडिया का लार्जेस्ट फाइकस गार्डन बना लिया पब्लिक पार्टिसिपेशन के साथ, जिसमें 31 फाइकस के टाइप्स लगे। फाइकस का मतलब होता है बरगद, पीपल, पिलखन, ये सब आपने गूलर के नाम सुने होंगे, तो इसको फिग फैमिली बोला जाता है। इसके हमने 31 टाइप्स लगाए हैं 12 हेक्टेयर फॉरेस्ट के खराब हो चुके लैंड में, जिस लैंड को तस्करों ने खत्म कर दिया था। कैन आई गेट सम वाटर प्लीज? थैंक यू सर। जिस लैंड को तस्करों ने खराब कर दिया था, जिस लैंड को और भी कई कारणों से खराब किया जा चुका था, वो लैंड ऐसा हो गया था मेरे सर की तरह बैरन। जो परमानेंट बाल्डनेस को प्राप्त कर चुके हैं उनके ऊपर मेरा कोई नेगेटिव कमेंट नहीं है, लेकिन आज इंसान क्या कर सकता है? मेरे सर की तरह कर सकता है, क्योंकि मेरे सर के बाल दोबारा उग जाएंगे। सो अभी भी समय है। धरती को जो हमने गंजा कर दिया है, धरती को जो हम बर्बाद कर रहे हैं, अभी भी समय है। हम उसको दोबारा से हरा भरा खुशहाल बना सकते हैं, लेकिन उसके लिए ना बातें करने से नहीं होगा सर। उसके लिए हमें इन लोगों को सपोर्ट करना होगा। पोपली जी ने जो कहा, समीर जी ने जो कहा, यू नो, हमें भी अपने अपने हिस्से का पोपली और समीर बनना पड़ेगा, और उसके लिए हमें काम करना पड़ेगा। देयर इज लॉट व्हिच इज बीइंग सेड एट यूनाइटेड नेशंस लेवल, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स व्हिच आर बीइंग सेड एंड रिटन डाउन एट कंट्री लेवल, एट पॉलिसी लेवल, बट हु इज कमिंग ऑन ग्राउंड टू एग्जीक्यूट दैट? हम में से कितने लोग हैं जो अपने जन्मदिन पे एक पौधा लगाते हैं? प्लीज रेज देयर हैंड्स if I may see 1 2 3 4 5, so hardly 10% of the people totally present here. How many of the students who are here who engage themselves in any activity which is adding to, you know, environment conservation? हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? इंडिविजुअल इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे। कोसना सबसे आसान है, आलोचना करना सबसे आसान है। मैं आप लोगों से कह रहा हूं, कुछ मत कीजिए। डोंट लुक एट द गवर्नमेंट, डोंट लुक एट द पर्सन सिटिंग लेफ्ट टू यू एंड राइट टू यू। जस्ट टेक, एक फावड़ा लीजिए, एक कुदाल लीजिए, एक पौधा उठाइए और अकेले चल पड़िए। पहले दिन आपका मजाक बनाया जाएगा, हमारा भी बनाया गया था। दूसरे दिन आपकी हंसी उड़ाई गई, हमारी भी उड़ाई जाएगी। तीसरे दिन आपकी आलोचना की जाएगी, हमारी भी की गई थी। लेकिन चौथे दिन आपके साथ लोग साथ होंगे, और जब लोग आपके साथ होंगे तो आपका मनोबल बढ़ेगा, और जब आपका मनोबल बढ़ेगा तो पागलों का एक 8 या 10 लोगों का समूह रामनगर फाइकस गार्डन खड़ा कर देगा, कोसी बायोडायवर्सिटी पार्क खड़ा कर देगा। हमने इस साल कोसी बायोडायवर्सिटी पार्क की स्थापना की है, जो 2 हेक्टेयर के बंजर भूमि पर हमने 1500 से ज्यादा 60 से ज्यादा स्पीशीज के प्लांट्स लगाए हैं, लोकल बायोडायवर्सिटी को प्रमोट करने वाले। तो आप जैसे इतने अपने अपने स्वनामधन्य लोग, इतने बड़े बड़े क्षेत्रों के लोग क्यों नहीं ये कर सकते हैं, जब हम जैसे लोग कर सकते हैं? प्लीज लेट मी टेल यू, हम लोग गवर्नमेंट से, कॉर्पोरेट से या किसी और से कोई फंडिंग नहीं लेते हैं। हम लोग अपने पैसों से अपना काम करते हैं, यानी मालिक भी हम और मजदूर भी हम। तो यहां क्यों नहीं कर सकते हैं? लेट अस डू इट। हम किसको देख रहे हैं? काशीपुर में, रामनगर काशीपुर से बहुत ज्यादा समृद्ध है, फिर भी हमने वहां काम किया, फिर भी हमें वहां पर बंजर जमीन मिली। काशीपुर में तो माशाल्लाह इसकी कोई कमी नहीं है। अभी बच्चे द्रोण सागर दिखा रहे थे। क्यों आप लोग सरकार को गाली दे रहे हैं? क्यों सरकार की आलोचना कर रहे हैं? क्यों आप किसी को कुछ और कह रहे हैं? क्यों नहीं आप एक फोरम बनाते हैं और द्रोण सागर को करके दिखाइए ना। सरकार के लिए उससे बड़ा तमाचा क्या हो? आई एम माई सेल्फ अ गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसर, लेकिन सच्चाई तो सच्चाई है। Everybody, you know, every prominent person of Kashipur is sitting here. Why don't we join hands and do something that, you know, you force the government to do it then? रौतेला जी के पास मत जाइए, आप द्रोण सागर को रिवाइव करके दिखा दीजिए, रौतेला जी खुद दौड़े दौड़े आपके पास आएंगे। तो काशीपुर में एक जंगल बनाते हैं और एक तालाब बनाते हैं। कीजिए ना ये प्रतिज्ञा, क्यों नहीं करते? आज गांधी जी का जन्मदिन है, आज लाल बहादुर शास्त्री का जन्मदिन है। इन बच्चों को पता चलना चाहिए कि हमारे रोल मॉडल्स कौन होने चाहिए। हमारे रोल मॉडल्स हनी सिंह होना चाहिए? हमारा रोल मॉडल्स कौन होना चाहिए? शकीरा होनी चाहिए? मे भी हो सकती है, लेकिन शर्त है बच्चों, शर्त यह है कि जब गांधी जी का नाम आए, जब भगत सिंह का नाम आए, जब डॉक्टर कलाम का नाम आए, तो भले ही आप शकीरा बने, भले ही आप शॉन मेंडिस बने, लेकिन आपका दिल श्रद्धा भाव से भर जाना चाहिए। Because at the end of the day, it is not that what you get from the society makes you great, makes your life fruitful and meaningful. My dear kids, your life has a meaning only when you give something back to the society, and always do the opposite of a bank account. You want a bigger bank account? I want the bigger bank account for the society from your side. Give the best, give the most of yours to the society, and then you will not face these questions. Then you will not waste your time criticizing the government. So you have the time, and you are our potential, and you are our hope. Do it. People will follow you. आखिरी में मैं गांधी जी को यही श्रद्धांजलि कह दूंगा और अपनी बात खत्म करूंगा ज्यादा समय न लेते हुए। गांधी जी को सच्ची श्रद्धांजलि है एक पागलपन की। गांधी जी भी पागल थे, क्योंकि अगर उन्होंने भी सोचा होता ना कि मैं बैरिस्टर बन के लाखों करोड़ों कमाऊंगा, तो आज हम आजाद नहीं हुए होते। अगर नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस ने भी यही सोचा होता, या जिन सब ने कुर्बानियां दी उन्होंने सोचा होता, तो आज कदाचित हम भी कहीं पता नहीं किस हालत में होते। तो इस पागलपन की जरूरत आज भी है, और मेरा आह्वान बड़ों से ज्यादा आप बच्चों से है, क्योंकि ये आप कर दिखा सकते हैं। रिमेंबर, यंग कैन मूव माउंटेन्स एंड यू कैन डू इट, यू कैन वेरी वेल डू इट। उस पागलपन की जरूरत है। काशीपुर में क्लीन वाटर नहीं, काशीपुर सबसे सुंदर जगह बन जाएगी, लेकिन केवल आप लोग थोड़ा सा नजरिया बदल के देखिए और हम अपने हाथों को काम में लें। दिमाग हमारे पास बहुत है, कहने को बहुत कुछ है, बट जो हो नहीं रहा है वो है ग्राउंड पे एक्शन नहीं हो रहा है। प्लीज कम फॉरवर्ड, फावड़ा कुदाल उठाइए और शुरू हो जाइए। अल्टीमेटली हम सभी के पास अपनी अंतरात्मा से पूछने के लिए एक सवाल है, जो हर चीज को या तो इधर या तो उधर करता है, और वो सवाल है, am I a part of the problem or am I the part of the solution? Thank you very much.
पंत मैम से, जिनको उत्तराखंड बेस्ट टीचर का अवार्ड मिला है, कि वो आगे आए और कुछ शब्द कहें। मैम।
अभी तो चल रही है, कोई पता नहीं।
परम पिता परमेश्वर को नमन करते हुए, अपने माता पिता की सूक्ष्म उपस्थिति को ध्यान में रखते हुए, मैं सबसे पहले आप सभी को हमारे राष्ट्र के जो हमारे सबसे स्वच्छता के प्रतीक एक माने जाते हैं, जिनको हम बार बार नमन करते हैं जब भी स्वच्छता की बात आती है, राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी की 150वीं जयंती की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं देती हूँ और बहुत बहुत बधाई देती हूँ। बहुत देर से मैं यहाँ पर मनन कर रही थी और सुन रही थी। हम लोग बार बार बात कर रहे हैं पर्यावरण के संरक्षण की, हम पर्यावरण के पुनर्संरक्षण की। क्या एक प्रश्न हमारे मन में नहीं आया, जो प्रकृति ने हमें इतनी अच्छी धरती दी थी, स्वस्थ धरती दी थी, स्वच्छ हमें जलवायु दी थी, क्या उसको खराब करने के, उसको बिगाड़ने के कारण हम ही हैं? क्यों ना ये समय हम स्वीकार कर लें कि अपनी गलती को मान लें कि वास्तव में इस पर्यावरण को गलत करने का या इसको संवारने की जगह इसे बिगाड़ने का, जिसको जो भी किसी ने भी काम किया है वो हम हैं। बड़ा पुण्य अवसर चल रहा है, नवरात्रि का समय है, क्यों ना माता रानी से एक बार क्षमा मांग ली जाए कि किस प्रकार हमने इस धरती को खराब किया है। क्यों ना इस धरती को हम ही संवारेंगे और सजाएंगे। मैं यहाँ पर नमिता पंत एक बार पुनः प्रार्थना करूंगी आप सभी से। अभी हाल में ही मुझे काशीपुर की स्वच्छता की ब्रांड एम्बेसडर भी घोषित किया गया है। एक शिक्षिका को ये जिम्मेदारी दी है और आप जानते हैं शिक्षक जब सोच लेता है तो बना भी देता है और करके भी दिखाता है। तो मैं यहाँ पर इस मंच से आप सभी से प्रार्थना करूंगी कि आप मेरे साथ आए और क्यों ना हम इस शहर को ना केवल उत्तराखंड का अपितु अपने भारत का भी सबसे सुंदर, सबसे स्वस्थ और सबसे स्वच्छ शहर बनाकर दिखाएं। तो इस मुहिम में मैं आप सभी का साथ चाहूंगी। कभी भी कुछ भी आपके माइंड में प्लान है, यहाँ पर भारती पंत जी बैठी हैं, वो लगातार मुझे बता रही हैं कि हम वी कैन डू दिस मच फॉर सिटी एंड सो मेनी थिंग्स आर देयर व्हिच शी हैज प्लान्ड फॉर अस। तो इसी प्रकार अगर आपने भी कुछ भी विचार किया है कि इस शहर को कैसे हम साफ कर सकते हैं, स्वच्छ कर सकते हैं, तो आपके विचार स्वागत के लिए हैं। और एज ए ब्रांड एम्बेसडर ऑफ आवर सिटी आई एम ऑलवेज देयर to listen to you, to follow whatever plannings you are giving to me. Thank you so very much. एक बार फिर से इस धरती को स्वस्थ स्वच्छ बनाने का संकल्प लेते हुए आज हम यहाँ से जाएंगे, ऐसा मैं सोच रही हूँ। धन्यवाद।
I request the manager of our school, Mr. Pankaj Bhalla, to come forward and say a few words.
जिनकी हमें जरूरतें थी उन लोगों को हमने थोड़ा बहुत उनको आइडिया दे दिया कि क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है। और जो हमारा बच्चों ने प्रोग्राम बना लिया था, जिसकी बात डॉक्टर गजौड़ी अभी कर रही थी कि डू वी हैव अ प्रोजेक्ट व्हिच वी कैन वर्क ऑन। सो बच्चों ने वही दिया है, दे हैड समथिंग इन माइंड। द आइडिया व्हिच वाज प्रपोज्ड बाय फरहाद इन द मॉर्निंग as well as conducted by Saurabh and Vasu here. इनका जो आइडिया ये था कि यहाँ से पता करना है कि यहाँ पे कुछ अंदर किसी में है भी कि नहीं कोई हलचल। So Farhad came yesterday, we were discussing it. हमने सारा कुछ डिस्कस करने के बाद ये कंक्लूजन पे आया कि कुछ अगर हमने आगे बढ़ना भी है तो उसके लिए दो चीजें चाहिए। पहली बात एक इंटेंट टू डू इट एंड द सेकंड थिंग करना क्या है। So the intent we saw and करना क्या है was what the children just brought out. Unfortunately हम थोड़ा बहुत गपशप में लगे थे तो बेचारे बच्चों की बातें थोड़ी दब गई थी। But what they wanted to put across to you is that they want to propose a development plan, a redevelopment plan, a restoration plan for the Drona Sagar, and just to see if we can actually work together. अगर हम लोग people in Kashipur and areas around, because I have known that we talk about a lot of things, बहुत सारी चीजें हम करना चाहते हैं। People want to be क्या होता है, एक उम्र हो जाती है जब आप ये सोचते हैं कि मैंने अपने लिए तो सब कुछ कर लिया, मैंने दूसरे के लिए क्या किया। तो वो एक उम्र आती है और तब हमें ये ढूंढना पड़ता है कि हमने हमारे लिए कुछ है भी कि नहीं करने के लिए। तो then you are looking for an opportunity And what is that opportunity? Is what the children are giving to you right now. They want to revive the Rona Sagar Lake, and with that, we have certain people who have agreed to assist. We have the IIM, the director is right here, and he has agreed to assist us whichever way he can. Then we have obviously the SPA Bhopal, School of Planning and Architecture, who's doing their landscape. So if they can assist us in any way, they have agreed to just assist us. We'll see what we can do later on. And then we've had a conversation with certain people from IIT Roorkee as well, who were already discussed, and they have, this was done yesterday and day before, when there was a conversation with them, and they have also agreed to it. So the students have got certain things up their sleeves. उन्होंने अपने बारे में थोड़ा होमवर्क कर लिया है, और वो ये कहते हैं कि अगर आप जुड़ना चाहें, we would like all participation in whichever way. So that is the kind of project that they want to do. A lot of work which was done in the morning, जो काम हमने बच्चों ने किया था, और various schools उनकी पार्टिसिपेशन हुई थी, उन्होंने जो किया वो आज इन्होंने शाम को उसको आपको शोकेस किया कि ये प्रॉब्लम थी क्या. हम वहाँ पे अपना प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं दे सकते, बट ऑब्वियसली दे नीड एन ऑडियंस, एंड वो ऑडियंस आप लोगों ने बहुत अच्छी तरह अपने उस ऑडियंस का अपना निभाया. Okay, आपने रोल निभाया. So anyway, so we've got so many people who have already agreed to it. Obviously, Little Scholars, along with Summer Study Hall, who's already agreed to it. The other schools who have agreed to it, and we have other people in the foray who want to work. कभी-कभी ऐसा होता है, कभी-कभी it could be monetary. Sometimes it could be depending on technology, design, conceptualizing. Okay, making उस काम को आगे एक बार कर भी लिया, तो उसको सस्टेन कैसे किया जाएगा, वो भी एक बहुत बड़ा इशू है. तो अगर हमने रिवाइव कर भी लिया, तो उसके बाद क्या, ठीक है, उसको किस तरह से उसको, जैसे कि हमारी पहल बननी है, तो ये तो है नहीं कि हमने अच्छा निपटा लिया तो चलो घर चलो वापस. अगर उस चीज को 1 साल लगेगा, हमने एक प्रोजेक्ट किया उसको 1 साल लगेगा, तो what do we do in that? Who is going to do what? And first of all, the first and foremost thing which they wanted to stir is, I'm very happy that they have stirred a desire in all the people who are sitting here right now, and I'm very happy with that, and I'd like to end it by saying thank you all, and being very supportive for the children, and hope to see you again. And I'd like, while we're having tea and biscuits, I'd like you to maybe interact with them and discuss things the way you like it.
Yeah. Before you thanks, I will also like to thank, and especially, Professor Ballooni. Yes, Professor Ballooni. Yes, can I have your attention, please? You are having funds, you can motivate the people, and you can do it. We also have planted more than 1,500 plants in our campus, and we motivate all the students, and wherever we go, at least put one plant on your birthday so that you can water it and see that it is surviving. That is very good. And simultaneously, we thank to Mr. Vasu and Saurabh who are here. All together they came from Solo and they have given us some idea. Simultaneously, those students who are here presenting this thing, and they want that Drona Sagar should be revived. It is very simple. It is very simple, young man. It is very, very simple. Only the water which is being collected there is being drained because of those basinda commercial activities which is being done by that committee, and they don't listen. How to make them listen? Only that we have to decide. अगर उसमें से हम पानी ड्रेन ना करें, पंप निकाल के पूरा पानी ड्रेन करते हैं और उसमें से बासिंदा निकालते हैं, अगर वो एक्टिविटी बंद हो जाए, there is no problem to that. Yes.
आप द्रोण सागर में पहले मेरी बात सुनिए.
बताइए आप.
द्रोण सागर में पहले 25 साल पहले एक नहर हुआ करती द्रोण सागर से, उससे पानी आया करता है, इससे ताल भरा करता है.
पानी अभी भी पिछले साल उसके ऊपर तक भरा हुआ है.
पहले सुनिए, वहाँ पर वो बंद कर दी गई है, नहर से पानी नहीं आता है. दूसरा, पानी का निकासी का कोई साधन नहीं है. मानसून इतना नहीं आता कि पानी भर सके, और जो चारों तरफ का पानी आता है उसकी वजह से वहाँ पर जलकुंभी हो जाती है और काई जम जाती है, जिसकी वजह से निकलने पड़ता पानी छड़ जाता है.
उसमें पानी
जब तक उससे पानी, और दूसरा ये है वहाँ कोई आय का साधन नहीं है, केवल अकेली बिजली का जो चार तरफ का उसका 1.5 लाख रुपए साल का खर्चा बैठता है. आप पानी भरने की व्यवस्था कराइए।
CSR के थ्रू
कहना बड़ा आसान होता है,
CSR
किया
के
है।
थ्रू बहुत तैयार है,
तो सही।
और किया भी है उन्होंने।
कौन सा किया है?
अरे मैं
एक ऐसा तो तुम लोग खुद से कर सकते हैं।
करते हैं उसमें लोग बाग आसपास प्लांट
वहाँ
पे
पर
लगा
जाकर देवी देवताओं के फोटो डालते हैं, वहाँ गंदगी करते हैं, जो दसवें का होता है वह कचरे डालते हैं।
वो तो बात सही है, उसको तो
बातें बनाना बड़ा आसान होता है। पेड़ लगा दिए, अरे हमने शमशान घाट पर इतने पेड़ लगे, घूमने आते हैं, वो इसलिए नहीं आ रहे कि मैं कुछ नहीं है।
Excuse me, ma'am. Wait. Not good, ma'am. Okay.